What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another week of Movie Mondays here on the Heroes for Hire podcast. I am your host, Shaun, and joining me is a very special guest, Miss Orla Smith.
Hi, I'm not Conor Lawler.
You're not Conor Lawler, thank God. The prick. Now, Conor is away. Mm-hmm. If you didn't listen to last week's Movie Mondays or Weird News Wednesdays or Hero or Zero,
then we don't need you.
We didn't know. Turn this off right now. It's not for you. No, Conor is away on holidays. We did a year anniversary of the podcast, and he decided he had enough and he left the country for a little while. So Orla is joining us this week, and Orla was on our Captain Marvel episode.
I was, yeah.
An episode famed for one person reviewed it saying it was nice that someone knew what they were talking about. So this will be a riveting take through all of the week's movie and entertainment news.
I'm so glad I started off so high that I knew what I was talking about. I can only go downhill.
Oh, I think I've picked some specialist subjects for you this week. And we're going to do a quick run through. Apologies if this sounds a bit ropey, by the way. We're on one mic, but I think I've listened to worse podcasts.
We've started very well with one microphone. Conor is going... Dear Conor, I know that you're probably listening to this while you're on holiday.
You dickhead.
You're probably so thrilled with us right now. I look forward to your texts.
Okay, so we're going to start off with not the biggest news of the week. The biggest news of the week is a certain trailer that dropped, and we're all very excited about it. As you know, we love that trailer on this show and that franchise.
One of us is more involved in that film. Knows a lot more.
Because one of us has to be. But the first news of the week is that Joaquin Phoenix's Joker film has hit $800 million at the box office, making it the biggest R-rated film of all time.
Yes. Did it have much competition? Apart from
Daredevil.
Apart from Deadpool.
And Deadpool 2.
And Deadpool 2. When I remember Deadpool coming out, it became the highest rated or rated film.
Beating Logan?
Yes, beating Logan, which was very critically acclaimed as well.
A better movie in many regards.
I quite liked Logan, yes.
Logan never said, "Look at my balls."
In the extended cut.
And Deadpool 2, which also stars Zazie Beetz.
It does, yeah.
So she is in the top 2 highest grossing R-rated movies of all time.
She's the Zoe Saldana of DC and Marvel R-rated movies.
Indeed she is.
Yes.
And Star Trek.
Zoe Saldana is in the top, she's in all Avengers Endgames, she's in Star Trek, she's in Avatar. She's in the top 3.
She loves being painted a different colour.
Yeah, if only she's been into Titanic. We just add her in.
So according to Variety, the R-rated movie got a total of $93.5 million in its opening weekend, which made it also the biggest October launch of all time, beating what movie that came out last year in October? That's terrible.
It was Hellboy.
Venom.
Oh, right, yeah.
Close, though. How that came out in summer, actually.
Yeah, it was meant to come out in October.
I was pushing for that to come out in October, because why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I thought it was meant to. Yeah, Venom was... It was okay, but it definitely isn't... Like, the amount of comic book movies that are now out and available in the last couple of years, you know...
Yeah, like Venom... This is a Venom review now, apparently. But Venom felt like it should have come out when Spider-Man 3 came out.
Well...
I mean...
Well,
look,
it did.
It did. I think Topher Grace was the best Eddie Brock. Tell me I'm wrong, internet. I also read about Joker, because it's just kind of the Joker section of this podcast, that, you know the fridge scene?
Yeah.
Spoilers for Joker. There's a scene where he climbs into a fridge.
There's a fridge.
There's a fridge. It's got a latch on it. We're all very confused. That fridge scene was improvised by Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, I remember hearing that. And I remember being... I was so proud of myself that I knew the fact that those fridges, the ones with the latches, were discontinued. And you now only get magnetic fridges, because a lot of kids used to go in and hide in them, playing hide and seek.
Beating the heat.
Pretending to be Indiana Jones, before that movie even came out.
God, they were ahead of their time.
They were so ahead of the time that you can't actually get out of them, because they're a latch when you're inside.
Okay.
And a lot of children...
So how did Joker get out?
That's the thing. Was any of it real?
Oh, was Zazie Beetz real?
Was
Is Zazie Beetz real? And also, most of his dancing and stuff like that, that's all Joaquin just doing his thing.
Yeah, he's that's how he started out.
As a dancer?
Yeah, I believe so. But they did hire in a choreographer. Like,
Okay.
there was a whole thing that he was going to be kind of fluid motion through the whole thing.
And kind of
Yeah.
weird contortionist kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I believe that he was, him and his family, he comes from kind of a big showbiz-related family.
Yeah.
They used to dance on the street, busking, kind of.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad he made a career out of it. Yeah. I'm glad Joaquin Phoenix is doing well.
We're all glad that Joaquin Phoenix is doing well.
Speaking of doing well, guess who's not doing well?
I don't know. You have the running order for the show.
It's Big Willie. You remember Big Willie? From the 90s?
Yes, I do.
Well, he's not having... Two of him aren't having a good time recently.
Gemini Man. Okay.
Gemini Man. So Gemini Man is a box office flop.
Yeah.
Is the news this week.
Yeah.
So, perhaps the world just wasn't ready for two Will Smiths in the same movie. Ang Lee's Gemini Man, an action spectacle where Will Smith fights a younger clone of himself, did paltry box office in America, but there was hope that the China release could save it. But, alas, that didn't happen. And it has suffered a loss of at least $75 million.
Yes.
And it's weird because Will Smith is... He still has that draw for movies, I feel.
Yes, but there is such a risk of that. You always say, oh, well, this person, if you put them in a movie, oh, the movie can't fail. That just, like, that's not a thing that happens forever. You know, if you go back 10 years, he's like, well, this person, you put this person in a movie and it can't fail. It happened with Johnny Depp, quite famously.
Yes, very true.
That, like, oh, put a Johnny Depp film in, it can't fail. And then a slew of box office failures. Just because one actor or actress or director or producer relying on one person does not a movie make.
No, and we're still seeing that happen. Like, we have... we talked last week about the Doolittle trailer. Mm-hmm. And do you think that's a case of put Robert Downey Jr. on it and it'll do well?
Yeah, I do. But also I think talking animal movies do quite well.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think they always tend to do quite well.
Yeah, and it's a family movie coming out in the winter time. Yeah. So I guess it's going to be
and it's a remake.
It is a remake of the Eddie Murphy classic.
I believe there was a Dr. Dolittle even before that.
In the 60s, I think it was a book as well.
Yeah, remake of a remake. But I remember the Eddie Murphy ones.
Oh, Dr. Dolittle 3 when it's his daughter?
Oh, I do remember that, yeah.
That's amazing.
But that's another, like, Eddie Murphy used to be a person that you put in any movie.
You are so right.
Yeah, and now he's coming back. He's Dolomite is coming out soon, and that's apparently very good. It's a faux documentary about the making of Dolomite, which is a film that started the blaxploitation movement.
Oh, that's heavy for Eddie Murphy.
No, blaxploitation is comedy.
But is it like is saying this is bad, or is it just a look at the film?
Well, it's a look at the making of. It's Dolomite is kind of a famous movie for starting that movement. And getting kind of a lot of auteurs, kind of black auteurs, especially in the American age. Right.
Cool. With regards to Will Smith, the Gemini Man is at a worldwide total right now of $118.7 million for a production budget of $138 million.
That's not good.
No, and I imagine most of the budget went on Will Smith.
Yeah.
And the special effects. Because this movie, to its credit, it does high-speed footage with de-aging and face mapping on other actors.
But do you really, like, because I think those are kind of things that are coming out in the next, like, in the last 5 years, people are like, oh, we can really do some great de-aging. Like, we saw Samuel L. Jackson
for a whole movie
in Captain Marvel. Like, and just because we can and they're a cool little trick, does that mean that we should make whole movies based around that premise?
No. Well, you see, Gemini Man, the script for that was kicking around for years and years and years.
I believe that's David from Game of Thrones.
David Benioff.
David Benioff script.
Yeah, it was. He did have input on it.
And it definitely seems like his name was a hot name, you know,
About 4 months ago.
About 4 months ago, he was getting him attached to some things.
I don't think we've ever fully talked about Game of Thrones on this podcast, because I think it would just go on too long.
A man that you could have put a lot of faith in before the last season of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that was another thing of just the name Prince Money.
Yeah.
But maybe that money isn't dollars. It's...
Candyland money.
Yeah, not redeemable at Candyland. Itchy and scratchy bugs. There's our Simpsons reference. So, moving on to what could have been a flop, and now I'm cautiously optimistic for. A certain blue hedgehog rolling around at the speed of sound, you will.
You love giving hints about what movie we're going to do, and I just have to kind of guess.
Well, that hint is pretty easy.
Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Wrong, it's Pokemon 2. It's not a Sonic the Hedgehog movie, you're correct. So, do you remember the fallout from the Sonic the Hedgehog trailer?
Yes. Yeah.
Was it the Gangster's Paradise? Was it the weird CGI? Was it Dr. Eggman just doing the Scotty Don't thing from Austin Powers?
I did not mind Eggman at all.
Do you like Jim Carrey Eggman?
I love a Jim Carreyism. And, why not bringing some kind of Scotty Don't Mike Myers' kind of... Because it you know what? Have fun with this movie. If,
Yeah, it's never going to win an Oscar.
No, but the CGI was... It was terrifying. He had baby teeth and weird... human eyes.
Yeah, that's it. Is that you? You know about the Uncanny Valley. You were the one who educated me on that. Mm-hmm. So, was it just too close to that valley?
It was so wrong on so many levels.
We strayed far from God's path.
Yeah. The thing is, Sonic has been around for a very long time, and it's been in various medias as well. So, Sonic has a very clear-cut idea of
what he looks like.
Yeah. You wouldn't, create a cartoon character and then make a movie and then change the entire look of the character. If you kind of look at, say, speaking of Pokemon, the Detective Pikachu movies, all the Pokemon look like the Pokemon. They look more realistic and kind of...
They've got fur.
Yeah, they look kind of more in tune with their backgrounds and stuff. But you can look at a Pikachu and go, that's a Pikachu.
It's even the silhouette.
My mum looking at any Pokemon and going, that's a Pikachu.
That cost me a shit ton of money back in the day.
That's a Pikachu. That's a red Pikachu. That's a blue Pikachu.
Flying Pikachu.
Yeah. But Sonic, the eyes are a huge thing in Sonic.
Yeah, I've got the picture here. I'm going to show it to you, and then the audience use your theatre of the mind.
Yeah, no, he looks a lot more like Sonic.
Yeah, he's got his... It's kind of like one eye but two eyes.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And his proportions are more Sonic-like and less childlike.
It did look like a bit like a toddler.
Yeah, it looked like a ripped toddler covered in blue fur. Also, there was that joke where James Marsden was kidnapping a child at the end of the trailer. Is that still in the movie? But this is the news that a Sonic redesign seems to have leaked in the form of kind of an advertising sign in a local cinema. Yeah, one of the cardboard cutout things that kind of just builds a bit of hype for the movie. Sonic was originally supposed to be coming out in 2019, but it's been pushed back to February 14th, 2020 to facilitate the redesign. I don't know if any scene with Sonic in it, could you just put the new body, as it were, over that wireframe?
No. This is it's a complicated kind of one, and I don't know enough about kind of animation pipeline and creation to be like, yeah, sure, it's super easy.
Whack it on.
Because that's a problem in and of itself in the industry of yeah, you can do those visual effects in 2 days, can't you?
Which is why we got Black Panther the way we did. With that fight at the end being weirdly not saturated.
Yeah, and it's also how the studio that made Life of Pi, which is kind of arguably one of the best special effects driven movies, went bankrupt after it.
Yeah.
Because special effects are hard and difficult and take a long time. So if they have to take as much time as they need to, so be it. Do that.
Yeah.
And take as much care and as possible because I doubt it's as simple as putting a thing over a thing.
Just hide the other layer.
Because I feel like some poor compositor somewhere is having a heart attack and being like, I spent forever on that lighting, making the fur look realistic, making sure all the motion is right.
Yeah.
And that the backgrounds and foregrounds react to this character that we've designed.
That's the thing, because you see the blue lightning, and that lights up blue the things around it. You see him cast a shadow on someone. Mm-hmm. I suppose, yeah, all that has to be gone back true.
Well, all the lights need to change on Sonic as well, that if there's light hitting him, it doesn't just hit one solid thing. It hits levels and curves and depth of a thing that is not there.
Terminator Dark Fate director Tim Miller is an executive producer on this, and he said that he thought fans would be pleased with the redesign.
Well, of course he'd say that.
He does have an investment in this.
He's trying to sell a movie.
But what do you think about studios listening to fans?
Oh, well, I do think that's important. I do think that it is important that you don't just rush something out. If it looks terrible, it did look terrible.
It looked not good.
Yeah.
I liked the mood of the trailer. I liked the Gangster's Paradise, but he just looked too weird. If it was regular OG Sonic and that playing over it. Yeah,
I think that I'll wait until I see the movie. I'm a big fan of some of the old Sega games, and I'm even a fan of some of the old animations that they had. And there is a real kooky campness to a lot of those cartoons.
The Sonic Adventures cartoon was gold. Also, I love Sonic Heroes on the PS2. That was my first video game.
Oh.
So Sonic has a big place in my heart.
Oh.
Yeah, and I have a big place in his. No? Okay. So, moving on to Suicide Squad news. Mm-hmm. In that, do you remember famed actor Joel Kinnaman?
Yes, I do.
Played Rick Flag in Suicide Squad. Well, he has come out and said that James Gunn's version of Suicide Squad, also called The Suicide Squad, will adopt a more comedic tone than the David Ayer Suicide Squad.
It would have to, really. Like, it really would have to. James Gunn is a great director for his comedy. Like, and, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2 are very great superhero films.
Yeah, and there's something different.
And something different, and they're funny, and they're like, they're very human.
Yeah, and it's a ragtag group of misfits coming together in the team, which I think is the best way to describe Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
The original Suicide Squad was almost universally panned by critics, but for some reason was quite successful at the box office. Mainly because the ads for it were very good, if I recall.
Yeah, the aesthetic's pretty good. It's you know, Harley Quinn and Joker was two of the most iconic Batman villains. If you probably say Joker is the most iconic Batman villain ever.
Stiltman. But continue.
Connor's not here.
That's true.
He can't talk Batman. He's somewhere screaming at me that I don't know. I've not brought up Batman enough.
Batman, that's he's the real nice guy, right?
Yeah,
everyone loves him.
Yeah,
Gotham's hero.
He loves guns.
Loves guns.
Loves guns.
He just why punch if you can shoot? That's what I always say.
Batman.
Batman forever. That was the best Batman, actually. It was Batman Forever. Best version of Batman and Two-Face.
Yeah, and best version of Batman's suit.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Just give me no neck movement. But of James Gunn, Joel Kinnaman said, he's an incredible guy. He's written a fantastic script. It's so funny. I feel like I'm shooting my first comedy. There are a lot of really, really funny people there. It's like a learning experience. I'm around a lot of incredible, funny people.
I'm really glad that the set is a lot more fun this time.
Yeah, because it was apparently a nightmare on the last one.
Oh, yeah. No, like, I've heard that the set was terrible and they really hated being there sometimes. Apart from, a few of the actors went off and got tattoos and had a great time. They did not invite one particular actor.
Oh, a certain man named Jared Leto. No?
That's the one.
It's Jared Leto news, everyone. So, we talked last week about how Jared Leto wanted to shut down the
Joker film.
The Joaquin Phoenix, Todd Phillips Joker movie. Mm-hmm. And how he threw a tantrum and told everyone that he had won Oscars and had a very successful band.
I've not heard a single thing about Jared Leto that makes me like him.
No, not at all.
I really... You know when you hear something and you kind of feel like, oh, they were terrible on set, and you're just kind of like, maybe they had a shit time, or maybe, this wasn't working. There's not a single thing about Jared Leto that makes me like him.
No.
And that's really terrible from an acting standpoint, because that means that fans are not engaging and not want to stand with that person.
Yeah, because he sent a load of weird stuff on the Suicide Squad set. Mm-hmm. Very difficult for me to say. And also, you heard about the Blade Runner thing? Was that one? His character was blind, so he wore contact lenses to make him blind and demanded someone walk him around set for the duration of filming. You go in on Jared Leto. We don't use his real name, so we're not culpable for anything.
I'm so glad that media law
that saved me.
That saved you. I have no problem with people who do method acting.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis is a great example of it, and there's many character actors that do it. And you know what? If that gets you into the zone and you can deliver a performance using your method, great. What Jared Leto was doing is not method acting. What he was doing was perverse. So he wasn't just, I'm becoming a character and I'm being insular and be thinking like this character, which is what method acting is. You do these kind of things, you become this character so much that you become that character.
Yeah.
Jared Leto was basically just making other people uncomfortable and making and kind of messing with other people to kind of a perverse degree.
Yeah, and to the point where at the point where people are saying stop and you don't stop, that's when you stop being an actor and started being a dickhead.
Yeah, I think that it just kind of went beyond a line of, oh, okay, so you like the famous, I believe it's Orson Welles who had a kind of a go at method actors being like, so they were running up and down, like running a marathon so that they can act like they've ran a marathon, and he just said, well, I just intend to act.
Yeah, and it's the quote I always bring up. I forget who said it, but if you're playing a butcher and you go to a butcher for 2 years and learn how to be a butcher so you can act like a butcher, you're not an actor, you're a butcher.
I believe that's John Richardson.
Yes, I think it is. Like, he went so far in the other direction from acting that he ruined himself in my eyes.
Yeah, I just think that this industry that he's in, it's so much about who you are as a person, not just your acting and your work. Celebrity has become, for better or worse, a popularity contest. You know, if people like Will Smith, they think he's charismatic and they think he's cool, then they're more likely to go see his films. And, even if something is a bit shit, like Gemini Man, people that are really good, fans of Will Smith, they're going to go see it. They're going to,
Yeah, people won't hold it against him.
No.
Like The Rock has been in some awful shite. But, sorry, we have beef with The Rock on this podcast. We've just decided it's the best way to get listens. But, The Rock is, in every way that he presents himself on social media, he is a lovely, lovely man.
Charming dude.
Same with Terry Crews.
Yes.
It's nice to be nice.
If Terry Crews was the leading man in a film, I'd go see it no matter what it was, because I want good things for Terry Crews.
The Dave Bautista effect.
Oh, I would support Dave Bautista.
That's what, because they're nice, good people. They're doing their work and they don't take themselves too seriously. Yeah. And I think that's what Jared Leto needs to remember, because this is the Jared Leto rumour of the week, is that you actually told me about this.
Yeah.
And there's a rumour that Jared Leto will be in Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness.
But take this with a grain of salt, because it's a leak from 4chan, and nothing is confirmed.
No, not at all.
And sometimes leaks from 4chan are very reliable, and they are what they are, but other times, they can
be calculated just to see how far it'll go.
Yeah, of course. And it seems like the type of leak that would, gain traction.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a rumour that he will play a character called Nightmare. Mm-hmm. And Nightmare is interesting because it's just obscure enough to have a grain of truth to it. Because Nightmare is the enemy of a character called Sleepwalker, who we covered on Hero or Zero one time. And he's from another dimension. That dimension has its own rules and laws. But it's as the other dimensions go, it's fairly grounded in how it operates. So to cover that in film would be a logical kind of step. But I can see Jared Leto doing it.
I have doubts, not because I don't think it's it's a very capable kind of character, and the character could be in it. I don't think that Marvel would put Jared Leto in its new films because of the controversy that he brought on DC. I think he's too hot, with controversy. And Marvel are now with Disney.
Yeah.
And Disney are very, very careful about who they bring on. They did not want Robert Downey Jr. at all involved in Iron Man. They had to push for that. And, Robert Downey Jr., he had his problems a long time ago, and he's really cleaned up his act.
Absolutely.
He's really become a success story to anybody. But I don't think they would want Jared Leto to be a part of their film because of the controversies that he brings. Is he a great actor? Yes.
Yeah, we'll say it.
Undeniably so. But from the Oscars that he's brought, and he's been acting since Fight Club, or even before that. The first film I saw him ever in was Fight Club.
Was American Psycho before that?
I don't know.
Oh, I just remember he got stabbed in the head with an ice pick. Great time for all. But you're right though about Disney maybe not wanting to touch such a volatile property, because they dropped James Gunn in a fucking instant.
They did. Yeah, they did.
For arguably much less.
Oh, of course, yeah. And there's talk that they might be trying to get rid of Jeremy Renner,
Yeah.
We probably won't talk about until we know a little bit more about that.
No, yeah. The only rumours we're talking about are whether Jared Leto is playing a weird character. That's as far as we go here.
Yeah.
We're not breaking anything. But it's also he's playing Morbius in Morbius the Living Vampire, the Sony Spider-Verse property. So I don't know what the contracts are like regarding that.
Yeah, either. I don't see it kind of happening. I don't know, but I'm free to eat my words. Nothing will happen if I'm wrong. That's
fair. Yeah. Ultimately, none of this matters.
No. This is all pointless jibber jabber.
We are just filling the void in all of our existences. Oh boy, let's keep going. Also, we mentioned James Gunn. He had a pumpkin carving session with a bunch of cast members from Marvel and DC.
James Gunn is the friend that unites us all. He brings us over the picket line.
And Shaun Gunn is also there.
Shaun Gunn is he still in the mocap suit?
Yeah, he won't get out with a suit.
Yeah, he won't get out with a suit. He's pretending to be a raccoon.
He feels comfy in the suit. We just let him in the suit. Moving on to... Look, this is news. And every time it comes up, me and Connor, before the show, say, I don't care, but we have to talk about it. And this is Bond 25 news.
Great.
Because after more than a year of creative issues and production hell, the end is almost in sight for the James Bond feature No Time to Die. And it's also, the end is nearly in sight for Daniel Craig, who hates this series with a passion. Completion on principal photography was recently announced through social media posts featuring actor Daniel Craig and director Kari Joji Fukunaga on the set of the upcoming film, both dressed for a cold winter. Now, there's a little bit of a hint.
There's winter in Bond films. Winter, now canon.
Indeed, winter confirmed. They also said in the caption, see you in cinemas April 2020.
So basically, a film that we all knew was being filmed has finished filming.
Yes, but we like to shit on James Bond here.
Fair
in this house, we support Dave Bautista and shit on James Bond. The film was originally planned for release on November 8th, 2019.
Well, that's not happening.
I hold out hope. and then again, it was pushed back to February of 2020 after Danny Boyle left the project. And I was halfway excited for this film when Danny Boyle was on board. You do love
Danny Boyle.
I love a Danny Boyle joint.
Yeah, that you loved the 2012 Olympics.
Oh, when the Queen said, "Hello, good evening, Mr. Bond."
Yep.
And then jumped out of that helicopter.
Improv. She was meant to walk out of that helicopter, but she said no.
Lizzie too. Mad about improv. Craig has starred in the past 4 James Bond movies, and he has stated in recent interviews that No Time to Die will see his last performance as the British secret agent.
Unless there's more money.
Yeah, because he was out after Skyfall.
Yeah.
And then
more money.
More money came his way, somehow. Maybe through a studio. And then he came back for Spectre, which I didn't see, but apparently was fine. Skyfall was quite good.
Skyfall was good. It was actually quite a good ending.
It was it would have been a great one to go out on. It was a nice little
ending, yeah.
But this, Orla, there's no time to die. That's the movie.
I've not read much of the Ian Fleming books. Or is No Time to Die still one of the novels that he wrote?
I don't know. There was something like it, or a rough time to die, a tough time to die, or something like that. Was Young James Bond, those books? I used to be into those as a kid. Because it was just him he went to Eton.
Well, yeah, because it's based off Ian Fleming.
Yeah. And it was him, getting into scrapes in school and hiding little gadgets in his coattails and things like that. I really enjoyed it. I wanted to wear a blazer. But then I remembered who I am.
Yeah.
But also, in other Bond-related news, is that Academy Award nominee and No Time to Die star Naomi Harris confirmed that she and the Moonlight director Barry Jenkins are interested in making a 007 spin-off centred around the character of Moneypenny.
Well, that'll be good. It'll be very gripping if it's, the director of Moonlight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a better name. Probably a better name than a Danny Boyle James Bond film in terms of...
Well, it'll be unexpected.
Yeah, in terms of something we haven't seen before in a Bond movie. And also, in an interview in Good Morning America, the British actress who was promoting her film Black and Blue confirmed that they want to make it a badass, kick-ass action thing with Moneypenny, and that she's also on board. She revealed that the idea had been brought to franchise producer, and this is the best name I've ever fucking heard in my life, Barbara Broccoli.
That sounds like a fake name. I don't think this movie's happening. First of all, she didn't say it was a movie. She said it was a thing, and then she picked it to Barbara Broccoli. Was there broccoli on the table? Because this could just be a series of cereals.
Oh my god. She's launching a Moneypenny cereal.
Yeah, why not? She just said a badass, kick-ass action thing. That could just be an action figure with extendable kung fu grip.
Oh, that would be amazing. Or, hear me out here. What's that Richard Madden show on Netflix that I keep threatening to watch?
A Bodyguard.
Bodyguard. Imagine that, but with Moneypenny. Kicking ass. And...
Taking names,
being badass and having an action thing. I maybe a mini-series. I don't know who owns James Bond at the minute.
Yeah.
Because everything's up in the air. But also, conversation online immediately turned to female Bond movie. Or female James Bond for the next Bond. Jamie Bond.
But James, a lot of people say James Bond is just a code name. It just travels.
Yeah. So you just say Ms. Bond.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that would be pretty cool. I would say. I don't care about James Bond, though.
Me neither.
So why are we talking about this?
Because it's on your little sheet.
On my little sheet. On my little tablet, I'll have you know.
Yeah.
I'm doing quite well, everyone. Moving on to someone who has also done quite well in the past. And probably the future.
Martin Scorsese. I saw it on the tablet.
The tablet has too large a font. She can see it from across the room. That's right, we're sitting across the room from each other. On one microphone. Deal with that. So if you remember last week, director Martin Scorsese...
Yeah, it was all anyone would talk about.
Yeah, because I know I'm in that echo chamber where anything that mentions comic book movie is just pushed to me.
Yeah.
So I read this story about 4 times. But Martin Scorsese referred to comic book movies as theme park movies. That they're a big attraction and a big show.
But, like, you know, I think it was Kevin Smith that had a really good point, and I'm going to be really annoyed if it's not Kevin Smith, and then I've misquoted. But he said that, like, most films, if you go back, my granddad was very, very into westerns.
Right.
You know, he loved his John Waynes, and, you know, they were the theme park. They were, like, critics hated those. They were like, oh, they're just these westerns. And then, you know, space movies started coming out. And then everyone was like, oh, these space blockbusters, they're all shit and drivel. And then, you know, after...
It's a direct quote from Francis Ford Coppola.
That's Ebert.
That's Ebert.
Yep. That's Roger Ebert. Shit and drivel.
Shit and drivel.
I'm off to review Pokemon.
But it's the previous generation always hates what the next generation is doing.
Like, it just, you know, it's always, oh, our art is terrible now and kids have no manners. Like, that's, you know.
Kids never had manners.
Yeah.
And art is subjective.
Yep. It's always just like, what I created was much better than what you created. Your work is derivative of mine, and mine was shit to begin with.
Wait, what? Martin, please.
You know.
Well, Martin Scorsese wanted to direct Joker as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think he has a problem with...
I think he has a problem with kind of blockbuster. He probably wouldn't have had a problem with, say, Logan or something like that. That's more auteur and more kind of genred.
Yeah.
But you know what? Martin Scorsese, he's in his 70s now. He's 72, I believe.
Yeah, he's an older man. But I think...
Fuck it, let him not like it.
Yeah, it's...
Like, literally, let him not like it. I love comic book movies. I probably always will love comic book movies until they're shit.
Until that bubble bursts.
Until that bubble bursts, you know.
And then I'm out of a podcast, I guess.
Yeah. But, you know, because I've loved comic books all my life. Like, that's how it is. It would kind of hurt me a little bit that if I'm queuing up for the next Hulk film, you know, in the next 10 years, and there's Martin Scorsese with his Hulk foam fists behind me going, oh, I just can't wait.
Going, it's clobbering time. And you're, no.
It's just like, you know, I don't imagine that he sits down and is like, oh, I can't wait till we see a iteration of Planet Hulk.
Yeah.
I love that. And you're like, you know, fine.
Yeah. And it seems like a lot of the people just read the headline, and the headline was Martin Scorsese hates comic book movies. But what he said is that the tentpole films, the big comic book films, they're theme park movies, as well done as many of them are at all levels. It's a different cinema form or a new art form entirely. We're hoping there are theatres that show the films that are not that, and that if they're not going to show it, that filmmakers still have an opportunity with streaming. It changes the experience, but otherwise, in 2 to 3 years now, it's not being done. A good filmmaker comes in from Italy or France, the film has to be a franchise or they won't do it anymore.
Well, I think that's actually kind of a fair point. I do think there's a lot of franchise films, and we have had a problem. You can't say that you hate the fact that everything is a remake or a sequel, and then disagree with what Martin Scorsese is saying. Like, he is saying that everyone wants a franchise for studios to touch your film. They want something that's a sure thing. They don't want auteur films. They don't want kind of genre defining. They don't want anything a bit crazy and a bit mental.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, he's probably right. Do I love comic book films? Yeah. And I think they're great.
And I think they're getting better.
And they are getting better.
Because they've deviated from the Marvel formula.
But I bet you he's got a film coming out, Irishman, on Netflix, talking about streaming. Probably what it was originally talking about, being like, I'm glad that there's streaming services because films aren't being shown in cinemas. Apart from big blockbusters. And we've all kind of just jumped on it and been like, Martin Scorsese is wrong and old and knows nothing.
Yeah, he doesn't like the thing I like.
Martin Scorsese was part of the Rat Pack, which were kind of a group of auteurs that created films that were not like what was being created at the time. Yeah,
Martin Scorsese, for a lot of people, made the shit that they like.
Yeah.
And now, and he's not saying that they're worthless. He's saying they're very well done. Mm-hmm. I'm sure he's seen Joker.
Yeah, and, well...
Robert De Niro's in it.
Yeah.
And they're good friends.
They're always together.
But it's a weird thing that everyone... just jumped on him for not liking something. Because you're allowed to not like things.
Yeah.
Excellent. Now, speaking of not liking things...
I knew this was coming.
Oh, sorry. Speaking of auteur character-driven films...
Well, George Lucas was also in that brought back at the time.
He was.
Yep.
Well, he's not in it anymore. It's Star Wars 9.
Star Wars 9. Christ.
Yeah, and that's just like main series, not even including the extras.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, Star Wars got a new trailer. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker has gotten a new trailer.
Yep.
We are going to discuss that trailer. To what extent? We're not quite sure yet. But we've seen it.
Second by second.
So,
play along.
Frame by frame. Everyone get out your Zunes.
Yep.
And get that little dial on click. I don't know about you. I got very Return of the Jedi vibes from this trailer.
Yeah, but like that's the point.
Is it?
They're all the sequel tree kind of. They like mirror the original. You know, like they always mirror another film.
Yeah, they pay homage.
They pay homage. Yes.
Yes. Indeed. So. This is following on from we've had darker trailers in the past. I feel we've seen Dark Ray and we've seen just that we've heard the weird Emperor laugh.
Palpatine. Senator Palpatine.
Senator, yeah. Not my senator. But this one seemed more rompy, adventure-y until a weird bit with C-3PO. But we'll get to that.
Yeah. Also, C-3PO doesn't know those people.
He's known it for like, 3 movies.
I'm taking one last look at my friends.
Just at R2 and Chewie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
That's it. What do you think Rey is running from? Or to?
Her past. Her future.
No one knows her.
No one knows her. Her family are garbage people. Trash people.
They sold you for drinking money.
They sold you for drinking money.
Do you think they're going to change that in this movie?
I really hope they don't, because that actually was... I quite enjoyed that. It reminded me a little bit of Dennis from Always Sunny.
Yeah. They were filthy trash people.
Do you bitch?
you big bird.
You can just kind of imagine him saying that.
Your parents were nobodies.
They're filthy trash people.
I am a golden god.
Exactly. And you know what? There's kind of a weird emphasis on eugenics in a lot of films like that. That your parents have to be special for you to be special.
Yeah. No.
Why can't she come from filthy trash people? We all came from filthy trash people.
I came from... I'm a Kenobi. No, let's be honest. I'd be a whatever the fuck Jabba is. A Hutt. Yeah, I'd be him.
But that's everyone. You don't have to be special by birth.
No, and I suppose it is good to have, because all the problems were caused by the Skywalkers.
Yeah.
So why not just clean slate?
But, again, it's just Star Wars isn't a film about all these things happening in the universe. It's basically one family
and their drama.
Yeah, it's basically Jeremy Kyle with a budget.
Jeremy Kyle has an amazing budget.
It doesn't anymore.
Oh God! What if instead of Star Wars, it was just an episode of Jeremy Kyle?
Yeah, it's just chanted for DNA. Who's the father?
Yeah, dude, I got Forest Moon of Endor vibes from all the foresty. Usually, I was reading about this. Anytime there's a forest, it symbolises the resistance, and any harsh climate is the First Order in this case, or the Sith. It was in previous movies because life and shit like that.
Yeah. I think it also because they can't have another sandy planet.
But they do!
Yeah, it's like, well, this one's Tatooine, and this one is...
Jakku!
Yeah.
This one is apparently a whole new one.
Yeah, it's another quarry in Wales.
Oh, thanks Wales. But we see what looks like a bit of pod racing going on. Everyone's favourite part of the prequels. The video game Star Wars pod racing. It was actually class. Everyone should look it up.
I actually really like the Lego Star Wars games.
They're pretty good.
If we're going to go with best Star Wars related media for me, it's the Lego Star Wars games.
Really?
Yeah, I'm ready to go to bat for that.
I had a Star Wars plug and play TV game.
You had a Star Wars everything.
I was a Star Wars kid. A part of me still is. I dip in. I've said this before. I dip in and out every couple of months just to see what's going on.
See, I listen to the podcast, and every now and then you say, "Oh, I don't really know much about Star Wars," but in this version of the extended universe, in these graphic novels that are really rare to get, I've only read one. Like, you're just like you like Star Wars.
I do, but I don't like what they're doing.
You and every other Star Wars fan.
No, I'm different and special. I'm different. No, I don't know this. I'm still not sure where this story is going. I don't see an end goal.
Blow up another Death Star.
I hope it blows up. Oh, what if it's 40 times bigger?
What if they just they just fail? Wouldn't that be amazing?
Wouldn't that be great if the bad guys won?
It just, yeah. It's Kylo Ren just won, and Donald Gleeson standing up there going, I don't know what to do now. We didn't think this would happen.
And Donald Gleeson is the one man left in control of the Force, and that's how it's balanced. Because he's the most balanced man in the universe. Perfectly symmetrical face. We'll support a Gleeson.
We will support a Gleeson.
No, like I'm just not entirely sure what the end goal is. Like, I get they'll blow it up, they'll try and defeat the bad guys, but I don't know how to resolve the conflict. Because it was resolved, by all accounts. And then they fucked it.
Palpatine's probably going to come back.
That's another thing. How does Palpatine come back?
Because midichlorians.
Some
midichlorians somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how Anakin was born.
Yep.
So...
that big Jesus metaphor. Yeah, virgin birth, midichlorians.
Slaughter of younglings.
Swans.
The younglings.
That bit in the Bible, yeah.
Yeah. Also, a great bit of Star Wars media was Star Wars Revenge of the Sith on PS2, because instead of cutscenes, they just played fucking clips from the movie.
Fair enough.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
The Emperor could have come back through some weird cloning thing. He could be a Force ghost, but Siths can't really be Force ghosts.
They can.
How about they do?
Like, the thing is, a lot of people just be like, in this form of media, in the Clone Wars animated series, this isn't possible. It's like, yeah, but maybe they can.
They'll do what they want, let's be honest.
Yeah, there's a lot of money in Star Wars. Maybe they just do.
What do you think is going to be the new fluffy thing in Star Wars? Because it can't be Ewoks.
Can't be Ewoks.
Can't be Porgs. Which are puffins.
Yeah. And I love puffins.
You do love a puffin.
I've been to Skellig Michael where they filmed those scenes.
Did you go after Star Wars?
No, I did. I went as a child. It's a puffin heritage site. There's a lot of puffins. Puffins look a bit alien.
They do. They're mental.
Yeah, I can see why they were like, we need to just replace these with aliens, because they look a bit alien.
I think they're great.
Yeah, they're really good.
I think they're neat.
Sorry, we're going on a puffin rant.
No, let's go in on this.
I don't know. I didn't see anything cute and fluffy yet, so that'll be the big thing.
Yeah, we see, there's a weird stampede or charge on horseback. It's odd. It's like
they won't be just regular horses. Wouldn't that be amazing? In Star Wars,
just a regular horse.
That would be amazing.
And everyone's really freaked out by it.
Yeah. The horses of Jakku, and they're just horses.
They're just a regular horse, but everyone's
they ran out of money, and they're just horses now.
Not even painted, no decorations on them.
Yeah.
Just a horse.
Yeah, well, that's why a load of aliens look human. Horses are just one of those things. Other aliens just look like horses.
Yeah, it's the perfect evolution.
Yeah.
It's the perfect balance of speed and power.
Yeah.
I'm putting a bold claim out here. They're going to go to Cloud City in this.
Okay.
I think I saw Cloud City in there. And maybe Lando needs to take it back, because we see Billy Dee giving a rousing speech.
I'm all for that. I'm all for Billy Dee Williams.
Do you think there'll be more of a focus on him in this film?
Well, I know originally that this was meant to be the film for the great Carrie Fisher. Yeah. So the way it worked was the sequels, there was meant to be 3. One would focus on Han Solo, one would focus on Luke Skywalker, and one would focus on Leia Organa.
Yeah.
That was the way it was meant to be. Now, they probably have had to change that after the passing of Carrie Fisher. We do see her in the trailer.
That's reused footage, by the way, and that looks
It looks really good. You know, so they are meant to be kind of mirrors of these three characters, and so they might focus a lot on Lando, as he is a character from the originals that's, you know, still alive in canon, like in canon, you know.
Yeah, and he is the old guard in a way.
Yeah.
And if there's one torch left to pass on, it's Lando. Like, Lando has control of the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
It's him and Chewie. So I can see him passing that torch to maybe Rey. Because all she wants to do now is fly around, really.
Yeah, but she's got some Jediing to do.
She's got some Jediing. She's got to fight a very wide boy on a very wet barge.
She seemed so wet.
He
looked very wet and sad.
He always looks wet and sad.
I know, but I just felt... It doesn't speak great that I immediately, when I saw the leader of the Sith army, I went, oh, go get the towel.
Did they, like, pretty him up for this? Because he used to have a scar, and I didn't see the scar at all.
Like, one of his surgery droids probably just fixed him.
Yeah, he got in that weird tank.
Yeah.
It's called a back-to-tank. I know what it's called. I was trying to pretend I didn't. I know. I'm a nerd.
You're on the right place.
I'm still not really welcome here. Someone floated a theory once that Kylo Ren and Rey were going to switch places, in terms of Kylo will go back to the light and Rey would turn to darkness. I think it might be more of a meet in the middle situation.
Yeah. Like, probably. Maybe. Who knows?
Who knows? They all know what they want to do. C-3PO looks like he's going to die. I don't think that's the case, though. I think he's going to put his consciousness into the Millennium Falcon so he can fire guns real good.
I think if they can make another toy. I'm very cynical about Star Wars, in a way that I'm not about Marvel or DC. I'm like, they'll probably, you know, make another toy.
Yeah, C-3PO wired up to something.
He'll get another arm. So that they could sell him with the red arm and the gold arm and the black arm
and the
arm and the gun arm.
And two gun arms.
Like, yeah.
And he's all made of guns.
I'm probably really pissing off some Star Wars fans.
They're used to it.
They're used to a woman coming in and ruining the thing that they love.
Kathleen Kennedy. No, like, I've said it. I don't mind it. It's grand. It's fine. I like it more than James Bond. Fuck you, James Bond fans. And those are my thoughts on the Star Wars trailer. I will see it. And we see the Star Wars movies every Christmas when they come out, just because it's what you do. Okay, we're going to move on to a segment we don't do every week. But do you have a weekly recommend for this week after we play the jingle?
Yes I do. I'm going to recommend BoJack Horseman Season 6, the final season, Part 1.
Okay.
Yeah, that just came out this week, and Part 1 of it has been released, and Part 2 of it is going to be released in January.
So not long to wait. Not
long to wait, and that's the final part of BoJack Horseman. If you haven't started watching BoJack Horseman, I encourage you to do it. I think this is one of my least favourite cliches about telling anybody to watch anything, but push through the first half of season 1 and you'll realise that you're in for something very, very special. Okay.
Oh, that's cryptic. And we've got a Will Arnett and an Aaron Paul in there as well.
Yeah, they are. And they're doing, I think it's one Will Arnett's best work.
After his role as Joe Bluth, of course.
It's very different to Joe Bluth.
Oh, no. My recommendation for this week is... Oh, boy. I'm going to recommend something really old again, because it's what I do. Spider-Man PS4. I've been playing it more. It's really good. I really like Spider-Man. And it's such a good game. If you haven't played it, you should play it. If you have played it, just roam around in New York for a while. I think it'd be real fun. But I think that's going to about do it for this week. Thank you all very much for listening. You can follow us on Facebook, Heroes for Hire Podcast, Instagram, Heroes for Hire Podcast, Twitter @Heroes for Hire Pod, the 4 is the number 4, or you can email us, heroesforhire_@outlook.com. If you would like to support the show, the best way you can do that is by telling one human being that we exist. And if you're listening on iTunes, maybe give us a rating and help push us up the ranks a bit. But other than that, I think we're good. I've been Shaun.
I've been Orla Smith, and thank you for having me.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
And Connor will be back on Wednesday.
Full stop.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.